It does. Sometimes in the past it hasn't worked off and on, but I'm glad you might can hear me today. Well, welcome to our September meeting, and at this time I'd like you to stand and join us in pledging allegiance to our flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, council members, you have our agenda. We're going to have to table two things on it. For the old items, because we have not received information from DCA yet. But at this time, let's go ahead and approve the agenda as you have in front of you, unless there's something else to add. Okay. Everybody to approve?
To approve the agenda.
All right, motion made, second.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, we'll move on. We've got, the agenda now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new items and 2 old items. However, the 2 old items we are not going to be able to act on because we're waiting for input concerning impact fees from Department of Community Affairs, state. They're kind of slow sometimes. So we'll, this time, could I ask for a motion to table item 7A and 7B?
Motion to table item 7A and 7B.
We'll table it for 30 days, and hopefully we'll have it by then. So second. Any comments or all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That will be, again, removed from because we're not going to act on the agenda on that. Let's move now. We have, this is for some public comments, and I've got 3 signups. So let me call on Briggs Bagby. No, you're sitting behind Josh Briggs.
It's convenient between the two.
Welcome.
Wrong way. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I think we should have golf carts for the environment. Cars, trucks, and even vans can cause more pollution than golf carts. I believe that our town should be able to drive golf carts. This will be an upgrade to our city, our state, and our lives. Also, it would make our town more wholesome. We would be like Peachtree City, where people want to live here because of golf carts. The police are driving them, so why can't we? I have a petition of people that want them to. We got Millie Bagby, Davis Goodwin, Luke Goodwin, JoJo McNeil, Maddie Goodwin. I don't know what that says. I have no idea. That's what half of the people wrote in cursive. Yeah. What does all that say? Josh Bagby. What does that say? I can't read anything. I don't know what any of the cursive says. Steerold. Okay. Steerold.
You can provide that to us.
Read it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. How old are you?
8 years old.
8. Well, you can't run for city council. 2 more years.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I got an application already.
You know what? Thank you for that presentation, and we'll hold on to the. We're actually going to be addressing golf carts later in our meeting. Lee Musk, Mr. Lee, where are you?
You mind if I go first?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I've saved you for last. Every time.
I was going to talk about golf carts, but I can't follow up on that. Obviously, my 2-year-old wants to ride golf carts, but I'll let you guys hopefully vote on that tonight. The next topic is a little bit more serious. I'm speaking about the Wheeler House, which is also my baby. My 2-year-old wants golf carts, but the Wheeler House is my baby. And concerning the Hunter's Trail, I believe is what we're calling it. The Wheeler House has been through a lot since its conception in 2011. We've overcome a lot. Different developers wanting to develop lands right around us, which has always been a cause of concern. The Wheeler House is not a hobby for us. It's not something we just do for fun. It is our business and our livelihood, our bread and butter. It's no secret that Lee and I are pro-development. We have spearheaded several different deals within the community over the years and have enjoyed seeing Ball Ground change and grow. However, we believe in smart development and correct infrastructures and road improvements are put in place before development begins. This is highly due to the fact that Roberts Lake Drive is not sufficient for the traffic coming in and out. It is, in essence, a glorified one-lane road, and not just because of our business. The infrastructure has always been lacking and has never been sufficient enough for the amount of traffic going in and out currently, regardless of our weekend events. Furthermore, we have major concerns about the equipment, deliveries, and additional traffic from the new development proposed. It has already been an issue with the houses up on the ridge with trucks and deliveries not being able to make the sharp turn from 372 onto Roberts Lake, therefore having to use our private parking as a turnaround. We all know that if we were to post signs, these things would still occur. Large trucks and machinery just are not going to use Roberts Pass as a first option because of its 14% incline. Over the last several months, we have been extremely good neighbors and have been dealing with different trucks and equipments turning around in our parking lot and causing chaos. And I haven't even addressed the safety concerns and the liabilities that it's brought for us and our staff. We have been neighborly in good faith with Mr. Snell, and that he would work with us on a safe and reasonable future entry into this new development like he has presented on his site plan today. As the site plan reads, Mr. Snell has his interest proposed on the private property, which I feel is a little misleading. Mr. Snell may stand up and say that he has tried to negotiate with us, and although we have spoken and met many times, he has yet to make a verbal or an agreement in writing specifically accessing our private property at the entry point along 372. Council, I would encourage you not to approve the site plan as written, and as that it includes someone else's property that access has not been granted. We have stated to Mr. Snell that we are not against the zoning, but the road improvements to Roberts Lake Road need to be taken into consideration, not just for our business, but for the safety of everyone traveling down the road on a daily basis. Furthermore, there have been rumblings that Mr. Snell is no longer needing our property to access new proposed development, and that he plans to make Roberts Pass a public road. If this is the plan, then I suggest he rework and resubmit a new site plan that does not include him accessing our private property. If his plan is to use Robert Pass as a public access, I would also have concerns about the steep grade of the road, not only for emergency vehicles, but the equipment they plan to bring in. When asked about the traffic issues on Roberts Lake Road, Mr. Snell responded that the road is public and that it is the city's problem. Although that may be the case, Mr. Snell is causing a larger problem that warrants significant road improvements that should be a condition of zoning, not only for the city's sake, but for the sake of the patrons and safety of all who drive the area.
We have reached the time limit.
Can I say one more thing or not?
Yeah.
Just my last thing, we're not against the development. This is nothing against him personally, but there seems to be a lot of details and conditions that still need to be discussed. And I am humbly asking that the council to consider tabling this decision for at least 30 to 60 days so that the correct safety concerns and logistics can be properly discussed before approval. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your input. Excuse me. Thank you for your input. Lee?
I'll try not to repeat and to be redundant. From the very beginning, when we were sitting with staff a few months ago when this was submitted, I was flabbergasted, to be honest, when I saw the site plan for the first time for rezoning, and I saw a road going through my private property. And if y'all know, we went through a lot of stress to buy that property from Ralph Devia when he tried developing this, if y'all remember that. And because we didn't want that road to go through there, we were afraid of widening the road, messing up the marble wall. Y'all know we love history and we want to save that. And this is our baby. So I've been doing this for 22 years. I've been investing in real estate. I've seen dozens of zonings. I've been involved in dozens of zonings. I've never in my life seen a zoning request submitted, whether intentional or rather not, to mislead the public, mislead staff, mislead maybe y'all, definitely misleading us, and everybody that's sitting here that might be aware of the site plan, that the road goes through our property. And if you look at the site plan, it's a beautiful site plan and it's low density. We're fine with the development. It's going to be very nice homes. He's done a great job across the road, a lot better than a track builder. But to see the design and the proposal, the beautiful design coming through our drive, it was a little discouraging. So after we found out from staff that was proposed, we have met with him multiple times. But Brittany's correct in that if he's already went to the county and the county's reviewed it, the board of the county, they've already reviewed it based on the assumption that road was going to be used, and he's going to change his site plan. If it hadn't been changed, I'd hope y'all wouldn't make any decisions tonight but to table. His site plan, I understand, was changed only here recently. So if he's going to change that site plan, I feel it only is fair and equitable and reasonable if he postpones and starts all over the process, going back to the county as well. And we're not asking for denial. We're just asking for a postponement so that he can provide to the community his plan, what his plan for Roberts Lake Road is. It's going to be one way. If it's one way, which way? Is there going to be a gate there? I'd love to see a Knox box and a gate there for emergency access only. What brings somebody as far as the safety features happen is people are turning off the interstate, and when they make that 160-degree turn on the Roberts Lake Road, we've had dozens of trucks come through. I don't know if they were carrying lumber, if they were box trucks, they were carrying tile and sheetrock. We've had equipment delivery. They can't make that turn. We watched this week, the fire department had a hard time going up on our bank trying to get around to do a call this week. So what they're doing is they're coming up Gasway Road on the private property and they're driving through our private gravel. And like Brittany said, we've been good neighbors. We haven't said anything. That's 4 homes. He's proposing another 119, because don't forget the 80 he's proposing doesn't include the 13 lots he bought from Stacy Bagwell, 4 of which have been built. So he still has 9 more left, but then he's got another 17 lots on the top side of the Lennar development. So it's a total of 118 lots, give or take, based on the site plans I pulled up on the website. So that's 4 homes we've had pretty big issues with. One car pulled in, a big truck almost sideswiped a car. We had to back a car up just to let him through. He was pulling some equipment. Then we had another box truck come through and almost hit one of our members that was parking in our private parking lot. So we spent a lot of time and money. We've forgone a lot of vacations and things because we had to buy that property. To buy the 1 acre of parking, we had to buy the whole 60 acres. So most importantly, other than safety and the U-turn, the concern there is Ms. Snell, like Brittany said today, said it was not his problem, said it was the city's problem. And I don't know if y'all are different than the county. I know it's not a county road, but we've had instances on Old Doss Road in Canton where there's a piece of land still not developed. We tried buying it a few years ago, tried zoning it, and the city would not zone it. And Harry is even actively against zoning it. And it's all public record because it was on a 30-foot right-of-way on Old Doss Road. So we couldn't add 100 homes on 70 acres because of that. So to think that you have to vote on this is just not true. I'm not asking you to deny it, but you could deny it just based on the simple fact of the lack of access. Even if you do turn that into a public road on a 14.8%.
It is time.
I had a lot more to say, but I'll maybe sit in October whenever we have the next hearing.
Okay. Okay, Lee, thank you. If it's acted on tonight, it has to be acted on 2 times.
Okay.
So, a lot of times things get changed after the first, but again, it's not a one-time voting here.
Same.
Okay, that's our. I'm gonna thank Briggs again. He did a good job. I thank you too, Brittany. All right, Eric. At this time, you want to?
Yeah, just touch on a couple of October things. Again, if you don't have the city app, encourage you to get that. Encourage you to follow our downtown page on Facebook to stay current with all events. We're scheduled right now for a concert in the park, Whiskey Rose, this Saturday, 6 p.m. We'll make the call tomorrow morning, but that's probably a cancellation. October 5th is Ball Ground Rocks Festival, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. October 19th is the Chili Cook-Off downtown, and that's 6 to 8 p.m. And then regular Saturday events going on, Sweat It Out, Saturday mornings from 8 to 9. Loving Local, which will also be canceled this weekend. And our Unplugged sessions in City Connection from 6 to 8 p.m. on Saturday evening.
And the weather expected Saturday
I-
will probably,
I think pretty much everything Saturday will be canceled.
all right. Thank you. At this time, let's move to approve the minutes from our last meeting, August. Council members, you've seen the minutes, any changes or comments?
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion. And motion made and then second. All in favor? Any opposed? Any opposed? I always ask that question. I don't think we ever had our minutes opposed. Anyway, that's from the our August meeting. All right, at this time, we'll move to item 7 on our agenda, which is the old business, and that's 2 items that I mentioned earlier that we need to table because we have not received input from the DCA we needed to do before we could act on these 2 items. So, Vicky, you want to give a motion to table?
I will make a motion to table item 7A, 7B
30 days.
for 30 days.
Okay.
I'll second. I did do it. That's what somebody said.
We're voting right now. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll do that. But again, that has to do with the impact fees that require state input and it's just taking longer than we
Any
expected.
word on that here? Can you-
Representative Jaspers did not get back with me today, so I'll continue to follow up with him. I know he's busy. So,
Okay, at this time, we'll move to new business. And the first is the Hunter Trail rezoning request. Eric, you want to give us an update?
yeah, nothing has changed since the work session, or excuse me, the planning retreat that we had this past Saturday and discussed it. There were a couple items that council wanted changed on the conditions. Mr. Luley, they did make those changes, correct, on the conditions?
Been updated in the stipulation letter that the developer provided to us this week.
And so the one road is going to be the one way.
That is your call whenever you want to do it. The city owns that road. So we can one-way it or close it or whatever you want anytime you want. So we didn't make that a letter of condition because it's your road.
So at this time,
Well, I'll make a motion to approve as discussed in the work session, but with the stipulation that that road is a one way.
okay,
Going straight.
And that was the direction you had come up with, correct?
I'm sorry.
Chris.
That,
One way of Roberts Lake Road going in.
yes, sir.
okay. Motion from Vicky, if there's a second?
Second.
Okay, Chris. Okay, at this time, any comments or questions from
I do.
members?
How does this address the issue with the trucks going through Mr. West's property?
It doesn't. I mean, it is an issue. It's a private property issue. The trucks can use Roberts Pass. It's something I'll let the chief address. I don't know if there's something particular from the law enforcement standpoint.
If it's properly marked as private property, it's going to meet state code and statute. If it's marked private property and people are given said notice and someone's entered said property, they could face violations. Possibly Mr. Luntz can go swear at a warrant, officer can go out there and write a citation. So it's something to consider because it is his property.
And we have requested this past week a survey from Landmarks to properly mark the right-of-way of both Roberts Lake Road and Gazaway Lane.
Scott?
I was, we've had, each of us have had a little bit of questions on this back and forth. And before a motion was made, I'm thinking myself more to table for 30 days, get some of the questions answered out, some of the ones that we had with the road. And, remove that other road that was on the site plan away from it. And go back to the actual site, kind of try to work with Mr. Snell, get some of those things tightened up before moving forward with it to put it to a vote and approve and move it on down the line. I'd like to make sure some of that other stuff's tightened up. And some of the recommendations that we had at the planning commission, some have been agreed to. And if we still have some other questions to get those by the next work session, get some answers.
To tag on to that though, did Mr. Snell, didn't he say that, or he resubmitted in to show that it would be Roberts Pass would be the in and out for that development rather than using Roberts Lake Road? Too many Roberts.
Yes, ma'am. The developer provided staff with a stipulation letter, which is a 2-page listing of all the things he's agreed to. So we've talked about stubbing out to the next property. That's it. He's agreeing to dedicate Roberts Pass to the city, making that a public roadway. So it's been staff's position all along that this development needs to have sensible legal access. Right now, the only legal access provided to the site is the 1-lane Roberts Lake Road.
Right.
In my opinion, that's not sensible as a 1-lane road to 80 homes. It was presented that there would be this reconfiguration of Roberts Lake Road at Gilmer Ferry. Obviously, that doesn't sound like it's going to happen tonight. So staff has maintained the position that we don't really care how you come up with legal, sensible access. We just want to see it. Whether that's coming to an agreement with the adjacent property owners, whether that's dedicating Roberts Pass, whether that's getting creative with the existing right-of-way within Roberts Lake Road that's there now and widening it.
So
So
in the
stipulation letter is option whatever, dedicate Roberts Pass, and then the city still controls Roberts Lake Road, which is the 1-lane. So that's why we feel that if Roberts Pass becomes the sensible legal access, that's 2-lane road, then Roberts Lake Road is that second point of entry that the fire marshal requires. But then we just go one way inward, so the fire marshal can come in that way if needed.
Right.
Everybody else can use Roberts Pass if needed.
And that's stated in the stipulation letter that he submitted in.
The stipulation letter says that he's going to grant Roberts Pass, which would be that access.
Right.
And we still have Roberts Lake, that's a city street.
Okay, so, and we have that in writing,
Yes.
Mr. Snell. Okay.
If he takes the lots from the stub out, slots shifted anywhere else, or they just abandoned out of the plan?
We've discussed with the developer, I believe he's here tonight. If he could maybe speak to that a little bit better than I can. I know he has, a level of comfort that he can do that by shifting property lines.
Is that,
I think it'd lose a little bit on the lots to the east or north and south to provide the access through what we're talking, because the lots on each side were some of the larger lots that could actually just shift their property lines and put it through. So it would adjust a couple of lot sizes, but it would provide the access that we're asking for to the adjoining parcel.
So we have a motion and a second. And at this point, after Scott's asking that we table it for 30 days, what's your,
I personally don't see a reason to table it for 30 days since this is just the first reading.
right, like I said earlier. After, actually, there could be lots of changes after the first reading. But again, I don't vote unless it's a tie. And with 5 of us here, it won't be. So I'll just ask you if you want to move forward on voting
If
on.
we can make adjustments after the, we can approve this first reading, and then we can work through some of these other works to it. I'm okay with that.
Okay, any other comments? Chris, Annette?
I'm good.
Okay, at this time, let me ask you to get your vote. All in favor of the motion? Any opposed? Okay, again, we've approved the first reading here, but we'll be doing this again in our next meeting. And there may be multiple changes that get put in if we won't let them happen. Okay. All right, so at this time, we'll move on to second item, Josh Bagby. You want your son to address that too?
I think everybody knows he wants a pool.
Okay, Eric, why don't you give us a summary of what we're considering?
Yes, what we're asking is the Bagby family is asking to build a swimming pool in the backyard of their home at 260 Old Canton Road. They are asking for permission to encroach into the first 25 feet of the 75-foot stream buffer. At the time the home was purchased and constructed, all that existed was a 25-foot buffer. Being in the Metro District, since that time, they have required us to go to a 150-foot buffer, 75 on each side of the stream. So without this variance, they really don't have a way of enjoying their own backyard. Public hearing was held at 6:30 this evening. We did receive written comment from one neighbor that just had parking concerns of construction vehicles. So as you know, if council grants, it's something we just ask Mr. Bagby to be cognizant of. And they talked about landscaping, but we have no requirement for a swimming pool to be landscaped. So other than that, there was no other comments.
Okay, I might add to people here that if you turn the clock back a few years ago, that 25, we required 25 feet buffer from the stream. We were changed with other Atlanta counties. We go 2 miles north of us to Pickens County. They don't have to, they still have 25 feet, not 75. So it's a little, it's very competitive. But we're, in this particular case, we're talking about taking over 1/3 of that buffer. So at this time, ask for motion to approve.
I will make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, sorry.
All right, a motion made and second. And any other comments or?
I think this voice is ever full.
Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. So move forward on your pool. You'll have to open that up to the public. So come jump in the pool. Okay, next item, third item under new business is concerning golf carts. And again, Eric, give us a summary of what we're putting forward.
This is another element that may have a lot of changes between first and second reading. There's a draft ordinance on the table before you all this evening. That ordinance contains the streets, most of which are right here in the core of the city where they would be allowed. A little bit more stringent than state law. You'd have to be a licensed have a Georgia driver's license to be able to drive it on our streets. It streets that are 25 miles per hour. We did limit like Northridge Road only from Depot to downtown because of the grades, the curves, sight distances, and everything that might be dangerous for a golf cart on a road there. This won't apply to all of our communities because we have communities that are detached from downtown and don't have a way to get here without either getting on a state highway or a county road where they are not allowed. But the thought is to get this out there. Like I said, first reading, we'll tweak some of it. And then if the first reading is approved tonight, the ordinance still isn't approved. It would have to come back for a second reading next month. And if it's approved, then it would become legal and able to be executed on December 1st. We have signage that by state law would have to go up on the streets where golf carts are allowed, share the road signs and stuff like that, just to make folks aware that, hey, you're dealing with golf carts, bicycles, tricycles, and everything else in the area. So Chief, anything for you to add on this?
First and foremost, from the PD standpoint, I will apologize. I know for years there was a misconception that they were okay and that everybody was given a pass. I apologize if that happened. It shouldn't have happened. We've moved on. If you've been stopped, nobody in this room, to the best of my knowledge, has got a citation. If you have, please see me and we'll take care of that. Golf cart, I've never seen a golf cart win in an accident, okay? They're very dangerous and they are not your babysitter for your children. They can be used for recreation, and yes, like the young man said, it does help with pollution and some other things. However, this ordinance, and there's got to be some limitations to it and some corrective actions for those that may wander off the golf cart path. We cannot scream and complain about large trucks and then say it's okay for golf carts to intermix. That's not what we're trying to do here. The PD is 100% for this. We're just asking that parameter to be put in place so it can be enforced, much like a speed limit, a stop sign, those kind of things. So I just wanted to put that out there. If anybody has gotten a ticket or has not had a positive, I know it's hard on the traffic stop, a positive interaction, please see me, because staff has been asked to educate and let people know that we've talked with council about correcting the situation. But it's going to take a little bit of time, like you said, with signage. And Mr. Lilly and I are working through this to make sure it's done right. But 100% in favor. No more than 25 miles an hour.
Okay. Anything else we need to put forth? Again, there's state laws that we have to follow. For example, right now, there's only one state highway that golf carts can go across, and that's only at the four-way stop here on the edge of downtown. You can't drive a golf cart on it. Can't drive a golf cart on a state highway. But you can cross at one place, and they've approved at this time. But again, at this time, we want to move forward and putting this together, but we feel like we probably will be making some changes to what we're putting forth as of now. So you want to go forward with approving the motion for the first, okay?
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion, Chris, second.
Second.
Dennis? Any further comments?
I was just to reiterate and underscore what Eric said, what you said there, that this is a work in progress. We want to make sure we get it right, and there's still questions. We have a work session between now and the second reading, but just let everybody know. We wanted to.
Okay. I'll let you have.
No, I think from an economic standpoint for the businesses in Main Street, the further we kind of extend that walkability to get people to go spend money on Main Street, I think that helps everybody as a whole, all for not going down Main Street, not going to Highway 5, all that kind of stuff. But I do think that it does make it everybody wants to move here because you can get to Main Street and you can walk and all the sidewalks and everything. I think especially for older people, a little more difficult to walk. I think it would be a good thing with stipulations.
Well, we're moving forward on it right now, and I'll go ahead and ask for the vote.
Aye.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, that will be, again, the first reading. We will likely be adding, making some changes to what we put forth initially, but we do want to make it safe and, but it's friendly for people that live here. So at this point, we get to move on to the next item. And the next item is we are putting forth a proposal to allow open containers in an area of downtown. It will be initially, other than when we have events, it will be on Friday and Saturday. And Eric, you want to go over the
Sure. What's proposed right now is be open container on Fridays from 4 to 9 p.m. for the Friday evening business, and Saturday from noon to 9 p.m. Available in the mapped areas only. The vendors, our businesses must attend training with the police department to learn the rules of what the limitations are and what they're responsible for. And they cannot get their permit to have sell to go without attending that training. It will increase the annual license fee by $250. That'll be for everybody in the district. It's a 16-ounce cup. The city will provide stickers that need to be placed on the cup. It'll have the downtown logo, but also have the QR code. So the customer can snap the QR code and it gives them the map and tells them where they can be and gives the police more enforceability downtown. So the area that is looking at is the areas that are outlined on this map. A lot of hard work went in that to make a E for the entertainment district.
yes, it is an E.
So we're keeping it out of parking lots because we don't want people hanging out, next to the car or taking an open container to the car. And then we're working on a separate one to update our special events ordinance or special events application, because special events are technically in parking lots. So we got to make sure the two of those jive with each other. But a lot of work, again, has gone into that. Got a lot of good information and think we're ready for this step. There will be days that it's not allowed as well. So for the annual Christmas parade, even though it's a Friday night, there's no open container for the Christmas parade. That's for the kids and Santa Claus. So, Chief?
Also, this does not go in effect tomorrow if there's a concert, please. And this does not mean fill your Yetis or Stanleys up and bring them to an event. This is for the businesses. This is for the community to make purchases from them. We understand that you may come with a beverage, but we ask that if you're going to indulge in the alcohol beverage, you get it through the ordinance, through the city. I'm going to be on blood pressure medicine now that we've had a golf cart and alcohol. So I appreciate that. But again, something that we are in favor of, as long as we've got parameters and restrictions. I think could be very positive for our businesses.
I might add that unlike other cities around us that allow it every day, we're the only one in the county that or nearby that has a state highway running through the middle of our downtown. And because of the truck traffic and the volume, until we get our bypass put in, we are going to limit to the weekends at this time. So at least though that, I feel like that will be safer.
So that includes Sunday, because that's like our second busiest day or the busiest.
At this time, it does not. We expect to over time we may make changes to it and as we see that we need to extend it. But at this time, this is what's been approved by the council and put forth in this vote.
Just have to borrow, borrow people some days and Friday nights. I think it needs to be reconsidered. I think everything great about it, except Sunday should be had.
Well,
Friday off.
at this point, what we're putting forward is for Friday and Saturday. And that may be something in the future we might opt to add to it. But we want to go ahead and move forward on what we've set up and have agreed on here on the council. So again, though, it doesn't mean things can change. We change things all the time. But this is the initial effort. So can I get a motion to approve what we're putting forth for
I make a motion to
opening things?
approve this first reading for the open container ordinance with an extra comment that, we'll continue to monitor this since we're kind of baby steps into it. And that's what we plan. So as we go along, we can monitor, see how it transpires, make decisions, right? And as we get up.
Okay, motion made. Second,
See the date, some time. Yeah.
Section
Did you say section E, Chris?
E for entertainment.
But it needs a second.
Yeah.
Yes.
and do I have a second motion to approve? Okay, Chris. Okay, any comments or questions from council?
I do. Should the motion be amended to include the dates that are not being allowed? Should that,
Sunday through Thursday.
and also the Christmas parade?
It's
And spectacular.
Yeah, things that are high kid volume.
Chris?
I think it's well covered the way it's written. We have the section that says it may only be allowed between these hours on these days. We can tweak that for the next reading to say and prohibited. That's easy to do. We also have a second line that prohibits it on listed out Christmas parade, spectacular, touch a truck, and then any other events as determined by city council. So if something new comes along that's child-centered and you all say, we don't want it on that day, we're covered under that. But I can make some tweaks before the second reading.
I was against this until all these tweaks have gone in here, and I'm more supportive of it, especially for our businesses downtown. But I was real concerned about the Christmas parade. So we have kids in spectacular, but we have kids that are very, very near the street as well.
You'll note also, we were told we kept it to the crosswalk, but you cannot enter the kids' ball field. So you can't grab a beer from the brewery, sit in the bleachers and cheer on the kids. We don't want that occurring as well. So it'll be the crosswalk over to Civic and come back up.
Any other comments? Okay, I'm gonna ask for motion to approve the first reading.
The first will be.
Is it the first reading?
You,
Well, let's vote on it. All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Okay, again, because it's an ordinance issue, we have to have two readings. So that'll be in effect after the second reading. Okay, the next item on our agenda, it's the increasing salaries for city officials, elected officials. Now, I almost want to tell the council members that they put this together when I wasn't at the work session. Our we receive some salary levels for serving. Ball ground is by far the lowest in the whole county. And we have not changed it. It has not been changed since 1990.
1986, I think.
It was when Ashley Hawken was here. So I think that was in the mid-90s. So we hadn't changed that, and every other city has. But again, you compare us to a city like Waleska, the mayor makes a lot more, the council members make a lot more. They're not as active. Our council now is the most active I've experienced. And so the way the law requires this, it can't go into effect until after you have an election. So if we put this into place now, if it bothers people that are voting, they won't vote for the council members that might get it and the mayor that might get it, depending on who that would be. But still, again, we're required to do this much time ahead because it would not go into effect until January 26th.
2026, not
Yeah.
January 26th of next year. It'll be January of the year
Yeah,
2020.
The year 20, because our next election is in November 25. So it can't go into effect. And so, Eric, you want to summarize what's being put forth?
Yes, we're just proposing to change the ordinance that we currently have that provides a meeting stipend of $25 and make an annual salary for the city council of $4,800 and make an annual salary for the mayor of $7,800. So 25 needed changing a long time ago.
And again, it was the mid-90s, wasn't it? That was back in the old days. Council members just got free water. That's all they got. So then they moved it to $25 per meeting, up to two.
And just for the record, this will also require 2 readings.
Right.
The required legal notices on this have run 3 times in the Cherokee Tribune and will run again 3 times this month prior to next month's final vote.
Okay, so we need to go ahead and move forward on first reading here. Motion to approve. Okay. Vicky, second.
Second.
Chris? Any further discussion?
I do have one comment. It's not in this ordinance, and would it have anything to do with ordinance? One of the reasons why I agreed for the increase in salaries was for it to also to affect our qualifying fees, which would go into effect, 2027?
2027.
2027. Does that need to be in this ordinance?
No, ma'am. That is set each January. State law says that this body has to set that fee every January, and it's based on the preceding 12 months of salary. So whoever is sitting in there after 1 year of this new salary is in effect will set the new qualifying fee.
It's 3%, right?
Pardon me?
3%?
3%, yes, sir.
Right. That's required by the state. Whatever the salary is, you pay 3% to actually run for that position. Okay. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll move forward and address this at our next meeting. All right, the last item under new business today is a resolution concerning leases for police cars. You want to summarize that?
Yes, this is in the budget. It's to move forward with a 4-year lease with Georgia Municipal Association for a new vehicle, 5.41% interest. Like I said, it is in the budget. We just need approval from council so that I can sign the paperwork. This isn't a traditional lease. All of them with GMA, when we pay out the lease, we own the vehicle. There's no turning it back in or a big balloon payment. That's the entirety of the lease. We own it.
Is this a turnkey price or do you have equipment to add on after?
It's turnkey.
Pick up just like that. And we're saving quite a bit. Unfortunately, price of new vehicle, they don't give much discount to government, but that's all in, that's everything.
Is this also, for a vehicle for an existing officer?
Yeah,
Or is it for one that you plan to hire?
No, this is for what's happening right now is we're one vehicle down. So the vehicle's gonna be rolled out and cycled through. That's why this vehicle is not going to have the cage in it and all the other stuff. It's more of an admin type, but it will allow us to roll other vehicles down, and be able to do that. It will be more.
When we secure the new officer about the same time, we're a little bit ahead and splossed as we talked about the planning retreat. We'll use those funds to acquire the vehicle for the new officer.
Okay, we do, every time we get our police cars through leases, through Georgia Municipal Association, and every time we have to approve it individually, we can't just approve it for the future. It's got to be for every time we actually take out a lease. So it's turned out to be a good thing. Cities can't borrow money for more than a year. But these type of leases allow us to do it over four years, and
Right.
then we unlike other leases, we keep it when it's over. So it works out well for us, and we've done that how many dozens of times. But anyway,
I think it may be a typo on monthly payments.
184.
Yeah, 1,843.80. Yeah. So
wow, that's right.
That's a real bargain.
that's right.
Okay, let's go ahead and approve this. Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the lease.
Vicky, second.
Second.
Annette? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm not going to ask if any opposed because nobody is. But that, again, as our police department is growing and getting so good, we don't want our officers driving worn out, risky vehicles. We stay current, up to date. So this is a great way to do it. So let's move forward.
If I could bring up one thing while we're still in the official portion of the meeting.
All right.
Like to ask council tonight for permission. This is not permission for a land swap. This is permission to advertise to the public. We've discussed at the planning session the potential land swap for the new Northridge Road and then for the city to swap 420 Gilmer Ferry Road. So I'd just like to ask permission to go ahead and put that notice in the paper, making it available to the public to come in and review the surveys and the appraisals, and then have it on the agenda next month for your consideration. But law requires us to get approval from the council to run the notice so that people can come in and see the surveys.
Good. All right. I heard second in two directions. I said Scott. I gave you last time, second. Okay, any further discussion then? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? All right, that'll be active at our next meeting. So at that point, this closes out our items to vote on tonight, and we'll move on to Eric to give us an update. He gives his comments over the last month, things that
Chief?
going on.
Thank you. I will be quick. Council, Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to say that on September 25th, in just a few short days, you, sir, will have your first state accreditation manager certified. So that is one of the final things that we need to do. I know you're smiling to get us as a state certified police agency, and it's going to happen. So we have to have a manager. Officer Gonzalez is going to the training. He will be our state certified certification manager. So very excited.
Good.
We can have a party. Yes, ma'am. We can have a party. I do want to touch on a couple minor things. The tragedy that happened, not so far away with the high school is something that we take very serious. I want council to know and members of our community to know that school, that's our baby. I mean, that's something that we keep our eyes on. Some of y'all see me in the morning there. That's the best way I start my day is fist pumping them kids. We're through there daily, but more importantly, in each one of our laptops, and unfortunately, it costs a little bit of money to do police work. In each of those laptops, there's not video games or anything like that. It's the plans to that school. So God forbid something happens, we can pinpoint a certain classroom, a certain hallway. There are catwalks up top for us to get places. So we're doing everything we can. We make sure that we're diligent on that. So I want you to know that we are as invested in those children as everybody is in here. So I just want the community to know that we practice that. We hope we never have to use it, but if we need to, we know how to respond and we get there quick. Our dispatch center, our sheriff's office, everybody has these plans. So that's a positive step in the right direction. I spoke with Sheriff Reynolds. He's offered this a long time ago, but we're setting it up next week. Your ball ground officers will be sworn deputies, meaning that if for some reason the sheriff's office needs some help and we're right there, it's a incentive for both his agency and my agency to have that manpower. So our officers will be certified deputies to be able to help out. And more importantly, the sheriff's guys will continue to help us in the community as we need. And that's something that is very huge. That has not been done. So we are excited. We have a new reporting system, what does that really mean for you guys? We're going to be able to give you some better data on not only where crimes are occurring, but how we can use the data that we have to prevent some of these things. We're blessed to live in a community that's got low crime, but here in 100 and some houses here, 200 houses there, a restaurant here, that makes me a little nervous because we all know what comes with it. So we've done a really good job of suppressing the crime and keeping it out of here, and that's what we're going to continue to do. And this new program will help pinpoint hot areas and other things like that. The golf cart and the open container, I don't think it's going to bring much more business to us, so to speak. That's going to be complaint driven, but at least give us an opportunity to address these things as we see fit or as we need to within the community. I am tickled to death. I've been here now 6 months, and honestly, probably next to 32 years of marriage and a couple kids, this has been one of the best things that I've been able to do. So I want to thank you, the council, and you, the people of the community, for giving me the opportunity to come here. I'm having a blast. I think that the guys themselves are doing, they're enjoying themselves and they're doing their job. And I think you're seeing that more and more in the community. If we're not meeting your expectations, I want to know about it. We're not going to do everything 100% of the time, right? But if there's a way we can improve to fix that, we're going to look at it. So thank you.
You've done a great job joining us, and I'll comment how good our police department to come and get certified.
Yes, sir.
Is something that personally I begged that we do for years and years after Roger Garrison got it done at the sheriff's level. So that's great. It's good to know that.
I'll just tag on to that. The incident that did happen in Barrow County, the chief immediately, as soon as that news broke, put 2 officers in our school, not because there was a threat, but because just to calm the teachers, the parents, the kids, just so they could see something. So that was phenomenal. We also had a accidental incident at the school a few weeks ago, and somebody hit the panic button that they weren't supposed to hit. And the police response time was the chief himself inside the school in 28 seconds. So those are the kinds of things, and that's great in a community. So definitely appreciate what they're bringing to the table. Now we'll get to the boring part. Fund balances. Closed out the month of August with a total of $2.4 million cash on hand. Of that, 949,000 approximately in the general fund, 360 in SPLOST, in utilities, almost 1.1 million. Revenues and expenses for the month of August. Total revenues for the month were at 518,000 against expenses of 447. Year to date, our revenue's 830,000 against expenses of 778,000. Administration audit team on site. They're scheduled to be here 2 weeks, and then they take about 2 months and continue to pour through numbers and give us headaches. Continued software upgrade, training, and licensing. IT support, we've transitioned. The individual that handled us retired. So kind of transitioning with a new person and looking at some things there and also some possible new options. Also reviewing and archiving destruction of our retained records. On capital projects, roundabout, actively obtaining right-of-way and easements still. We think we've reached agreements on everything except one piece that GDOT will not give on, nor should they. So it's possible that piece could end up in condemnation. We're still hopeful to bid this month. Chris and I meet with the county manager tomorrow, along with the county development director, and hopefully get a good date on when this will go to bid. This again shows the green shows the areas that we've acquired, and yellow, most of yellow we've now obtained, or at least have an agreement. 372 spur and bypass contract, like we said, been awarded to VHB. We were awarded the $4.339 million to help on right-of-way acquisition. So we're extremely well funded right now for the portions of the project that we're in. They're actually worried if we're going to be able to spend it quickly enough because there's timelines on all of this. So the VHB team is moving as quickly as they can. They've exceeded their deadline on each of their deliverables to this time. It doesn't matter as much as we want to move the trucks, as much as we want to bypass, we still have the problem with where you move it to. Everybody wants it. Nobody wants it near them. So we do have a small group that is organizing in opposition of this. There are some challenges right now with some of our engineering teams and survey teams being able to access all the properties that they need to assess. So we're having to work through the legal end on that to make sure they can get on the property and do their surveys. We also have 3 potential development projects that could impact the existing route. 1 is in the city, 2 are in the county. So we'll be working through the GDOT and county to make sure that the one that's in the city is on a state highway. So we'll be working with GDOT permitting to make sure that the future bypass is taken into consideration there and permitting. And then the other 2 are in the county. So the county will be looking at those. Mountain Brook sidewalk extension, notice to proceed issued for the hydrant relocations that we're doing there. We've hired North Georgia Hydrant to handle that. The bid is currently on hold. As I said, Chris and I'll be meeting with the county team tomorrow. They've come in with a proposed cost to the city and the IGA right now of $731,000 for our portion of the sidewalk. $500,000 for their portion of the sidewalk. We're trying to get it down to $250,000 for our portion. So that's where we feel we're willing to be able to go in at. Roads and streets, notice to proceed issued to Johnson Paving for the milling, patching, and overlay of Grogan Street. And it's to be completed by October 31st. Groover Street Civic Realignment. It's out with Brevity Engineering. The balk lines have been installed, and Brevity will also be doing a new parking layout for the senior center, tennis court area, community center area, just to make sure that we're maximizing getting every parking space we can. Old Canton Road Storm Drain Project was let and finished. Mound Street Storm Drain Project is scheduled to start Tuesday and scheduled to be completed by Friday. This is kind of a neat thing that happened this month. We did the assessment of the downtown parking lot that we'd like to acquire to be able to double our downtown parking lot. It's a picture of the boring rig that's in there pulling samples. And the picture on the right is the hollow tubes that they pound down in the ground every 10 feet. And then they pull all that soil out of there and send it to the laboratory and analyze it. We knew that this site was previously a diaper dump from a business that had been there years and years and years ago. So when we did the first parking lot, we ran into it, cost a lot of money. This time we're trying to bore and see what all's in the ground before we commit to doing anything. We should have engineering reports back at the end of next week. Water and sewer, Mountain Brook Water Connection, the contract is being assigned to the city and that should be completed by next week. We'll then try to set up have that on the agenda for October to give us authorization to close that. That's going to allow us to make that northern connection to Cherokee County Water and Sewer and increase pressure in Mountain Brook North subdivision to the extent we'll probably have to put in a pressure regulator to reduce the pressure, get it lower. While we obtain that, if Pulte Homes closes on the property there for their development, then Pulte will be paying for the connection to Cherokee County, paying for the bore of Old Canton Road, paying for the bore of the railroad. We'll be responsible for taking it from there on over into the back cul-de-sac at Mountain Brook. The automated valve installation, the power is now complete. The Mission Communications equipment arrived this week. And so we're trying to get them scheduled and out here for install, and that project will be complete. Water service line inventory, it doesn't look like I'm going to meet our goal, which was to have this done forever. We still have the 4 services that haven't been changed out, but October 16th is our deadline for reporting to the feds. And we always want to start a couple weeks early if there's any issues. So we'll probably report. It just means we'll have to submit a negative report for the next 10 years. Notable issues right now, we're conducting a rate assessment. Our license to operate expires in 10 months. Our renewal application's about 95% complete. I'll get that submitted around the end of the month. Doing future capacity planning on sewer. Water capacity is fine. Cost estimating on a force main replacement, upgrade from 6-inch to 8-inch from Sage Hill to Airport Road. And cost estimating on lift station conversion from Myers to Flight. The happy point of the month, the Metro District audit that you've all heard me whine about for the last 3 months was completed. We received the email from EPD earlier this week that they've accepted it, have sent it to the EPD director and asking for the compliance letter that'll come tell us our system's compliant for the next 10 years. Security surveillance on key infrastructure. We ordered this morning our first component. This will allow direct video surveillance of our most critical infrastructure. This technology also lets us watch windows and doors specifically so that we'll get a telephone call if anybody touches the door on the building or walks even in front of that door. We did go ahead and water, this is a water security item, but out of the general fund, we can attach another camera to this. That is a 360-degree camera that is far less expensive, but will attach and give us a 360 view downtown. And they have 300 foot of vision in total darkness. So it should be a good security bump.
You can only attach one camera
on that pole. And what we plan to do is hopefully, Chief and I talked earlier, if things go through with some of the things he's working on, then with GERMA on the insurance, we just about every 6 months want to be able to attach another grouping. Because the first camera I showed you, you can pick it up on your phone and you can turn it anywhere you want. It's a rotatable lens. So you can do it, you can zoom in, zoom out, and we can also move these in about 15 minutes. They're all cellular, nothing's hardwired, you just need the band to move them. And so we're going to start adding them. There's several sewer lift stations that'd be good to have them, but there's areas downtown that'd be good to have them as well. The Howell Bridge Road lift station, you've also heard me whine about that one for a while. We're almost back. We have the estimates coming now for the what they call the discharge foot at the bottom of the well. It's not a big deal to change it, except it's under about 2 foot of sewer water, so it gets nasty. But that's the last thing, and we should be back to 100%. All the guide rails have now been changed. Most exciting thing I think we did at Howell Bridge and Old Dawsonville Road both is, you can see in this picture, the hole there beside the panel is the wet well. That's 27 feet deep, and you see how much room is right there when you're having to work the control panels with your lid open so you can monitor the pumps. Picture on the right is something new they've come out with, and we've put them in 2 lift stations, but that's a safety grate that you can have on the top. Guys can walk across it and be there without the risk of falling in. Obviously, when they have to pull a pump, that has to come out of the way, and that danger represents itself. But for most of the time, that's a great $4,500 investment that keeps somebody from falling. Recreation and parks. Art on Main, a little bit of interesting stuff. We had 4,700 people attend Art on Main that were carrying a cell phone that participates in data collection. So that doesn't account all the 5 and 6 year olds running around, or young children with no cell phones, folks with burner phones, or folks that just have all that data stuff turned off on their phone. This is only the folks that had that open for assessment. Of those attendees, 1,100 had a ball ground address, came from 30107 zip code. 1,000 had a Canton address at 30114 zip code. Average duration of the visit was 75 minutes. And to look year over year, if you wonder what the difference is, from the same Saturday a year ago, it was a 428% increase in visitors to town. So Art on Main was a great event. It's something we want to extend in the future. And also, the check came in today, raised $500 for the Veterans Memorial. So that was delivered today. Rate assessment and rules. Ashley Bird is working on that for us, on getting all those rates in place. A new suggestion we'll bring that back to the Parks Committee and hopefully have these adopted in January. On over to community development. Chris is either going to go gray quick or just have his hair turned loose like mine. It's been a busy month in planning and zoning. Still working through the capital improvement element with the Department of Community Affairs. Working on plan reviews for Heritage at Farmers Crossing. Architectural reviews on Smith Douglas Lusk project. Briggs Farm annexation and zoning reviews. The Magby expansion. The Lusk Anderson annexation and rezone, Thornton Covington annexation and rezone, the Merrill Light Industrial Park plan reviews, the racetrack comments have been made on those plans and returned back to racetrack. He's also, every time that he does something, Chris is never really satisfied. Every time he gets a submittal, he finds something else he wants in the application where it can be done better, more thoroughly, capture more data. And so he's also working on updating the applications. Also been working on the alcohol district, the golf carts, and the Bagby variants. So he's had his plate full. He gave me a lot more than that, but that's all that fit on one slide. So building permits, there were 9 issued last month. We're about 33 behind last year's pace on building permits, so things are slowing down some. However, we do have We did reject, how many was it, Chris? 19? Application for 16 or 19 that'll probably get turned loose next week, but plan reviews on the development itself weren't complete, still with Brevity Engineering. So whenever those are complete, then we will see a jump there. Active development, 286 currently approved lots, 78 permits pulled in those lots. Potential development, you've seen this for several months now, and it just shows you the highlighted areas of where those different proposed developments are. And there we have it for another month.
Okay. Eric,
The only other thing I would like to say, if we could gather up after you adjourn, we need to set the schedule for tomorrow for interviews so that we can just not have a meeting. So we can do that.
okay, Eric, thank you. Eric does the work of about 4 people. He outstanding, and he shares all this information with us that we appreciate everything you do. Let me mention something, if we start with the end here. Last Saturday, we had a planning retreat, all of us here. And this is something we do annually. I mean, as long as I've been involved with the city. But this is the first time we decided to have the second one this year. And it was so good. I think now this will be what going forward, we're going to have a planning retreat every 6 months because we accomplished so much more by doing it that often. And it was a very good session. We did get to walk around downtown in the middle of the art event, but it was again, it was something I'm very proud that we did for the second time this year, and that we should go forward with it. I'd like to also ask Scott is chairman of our Parks and Recreation Committee, to give us an update on the meeting we had the other day.
We have a very good meeting. We've been working on our parks plans. As I mentioned, one of the other council meetings, I've seen some of the improvements in parks, a little here and a little there. But out of the meeting that we had Saturday, we moving forward, we're planning on a parks bond. And want to bring that to a ballot. We're hoping in March. So if we can get it on March, we can have a ballot for that, for our bond. And that helps continue to move forward with the things that we're trying to accomplish in the city.
Vicky?
On the parks.
Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think we need to get back to regular that we can all about 20.
We got it.
Oh, it's in.
It's in.
That was the picture.
Yeah, 2 places.
That's great.
That's, you can't put a value on somebody's life. And that's,
So we're too close to that edge, I think.
well, it was for educational purposes.
Okay. Dennis?
I just wanted to make an announcement for the garden club. Saturday, the 28th, they're going to be dedicating a Blue Star and Gold Star memorial marker. And it's going to be over near the pavilion area at the park, presented by the Ball Ground Garden Club, September 28th, at 11 a.m. And there'll be a reception to follow, and everybody's welcome. Yeah, I've got some flyers up here too, if you want that information.
Saturday, the 11th, at 11 o'clock.
All yours.
Good. Christine?
I think we've said enough tonight to everybody, so they're probably ready to go home. So thank you for coming.
Annette?
Yes, thank you for coming, and I just attended the first school council meeting of the year and learned about
all vector alerts that kind of things are zoned and people can alert and how it goes, jumps around and people know about it so fast. They're at the school and you can, you can get the app. So if you don't have kids in school, you don't necessarily know about these things. But it's on the Cherokee County School website.
Good. I should ask Cody if you had anything. Cody is a fill-in for Corey. Cody.
Corey.
I told you, Cody. I told you my horse was Cody. I'm sorry. I mixed you up with my horse. I'm sorry. I that for some reason I always remembered you. I thought the same name as my horse. All right. Is it Corey with an E or without an E?
Without any.
All right. I know both. Okay. Karen, anything you want to bring up? Okay, at this time, let me ask anybody want to address the council on any issue?
We would like to say thank you to you and the council and to Eric and to Karen for everything you do to make this city absolutely amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Karen. You're nice. Anybody else want to, anything you want to say?
I just wanted to comment. I just wanted to say,
Jimmy?
what we had said with regard to the fight, the site plan with the site plan is really good. I like the mix the sizes and so forth. I'm glad that Jones was addressing the work before you to address the issues of getting in and out. I think that's so I just make those comments. And we've had such good relationship with building of Loans Pond and the site plan. We're very good. And they're following that. That kind of thing. It's going to be great.
Okay, thank you, Jimmy.
Now it's Corey. It's John.
All right, I'm the oldest person in this room. So I'm getting, well, actually, I'm the second oldest. So my memory is going bad. What's my name? Anybody else? Okay, at this time, we will go ahead and ask to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. Everybody want to go? All in favor? Again, thank you for attending. I'm thinking.